against humanity. It is transatlantic slavery. So we should stand in solidarity with the reparations committee for all the atrocities and the brutality. We must make them oppressors pay. But even if we gain victory, there is no guarantee that there will be a better day. So even if we get millions from them European nations, reparation would mean wonder. If we can unite this tri-island nation, for as long as we put party before country, people there will be no prosperity. And as long as we fight each other daily, our struggles will be in futility. Oh boy, I want me mommy, I want to cry. Oh God. After the so-called emancipation, our parents didn't get £1, but the owners of the plantation got millions in compensation. So as heirs and successors of our ancestors, I say we must never relent. Instead we must advocate and we must demonstrate for our just entitlement. So even if we get millions from them European nations, reparation would mean wonder. If we continue to abuse our women with our behavior, just like the slave master, brother, there will be no prosperity. Once there is exploitation of the working man, our struggles will be futility. Oh, I want me mommy, I want to cry. Oh God. Hey. Listen to this carefully. Just imagine after half a century of being an independent country, still a royal Grenada police force, and the modesty opposition, of course. They have a CCJ, you clearly say no way, on two separate occasions. But when they say republic, some of you still getting sick. Why? You still want to wash it in the crowd. So even if we get millions from them European nations, reparation would mean wonder. With a colonial education, if we don't set ourselves free from this slave mentality, people there will be no prosperity. And if we don't teach the history of our African ancestry, our struggle will be in futility. Somebody put your hands up for reparation. If you think we deserve reparation, are we going to change our ways? Are we going to do something good with it? Give me a way like this. Give me a way like I love you. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy that you can join us for the Bob Report's countdown to Spicemas 2026. We know that everyone is excited for this year's season. I think most folks, whether you are home, whether you're returning home for Carnival, the reign of the Merry Monarch, as they say, is here. And for this segment, we are very, very happy to be joined by what I call the next generation of torchbearers for the culture and the music and the art form. And this segment, we are titling it The Rhythms and Sounds of Spicemas 2026 with Jambalasi Grenada. And we do have joining us for this segment, we do have both Ian Charles and we have an artist, a young artist by the name of Tris. And while we attempt to resolve Ian's internet connection, Tris, we do want to begin with you, sir. And we want you to tell us first and foremost, what got you involved in the music at such a young age?
community, Willis, where music played 24/7. So it wasn't really a choice. I grew up in a musical household as well. My
Mm-hmm.
brother being an artist and a steady rhymes. My father also I love our music. So some of the loudest music in vehicles in Grenada for a couple of years. So yeah, and I mean, but it's always around music at church, at home, at school. I also took part in school choir from primary school to secondary school,
Mm-hmm.
even at tertiary level or community college band. I was one of the lead singers there, and just
Mm-hmm.
transitioned into becoming my own artist, creating my own craft, and doing what I love, which is
Mm-hmm.
music. And music always was an escape for me. Anytime I had something challenging to do, anytime I was under stress, anytime I felt good, anytime I felt bad, it was always me and music. It was just there, man. Music always along.
So for you, it was a bit therapeutic as well, sort of as a therapy.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though I would say I use music as I escape. Sometimes, well, life is life, and we live in it. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
in life you might feel dull. So I go to the studio, I create something. So now I might feel happy, I go to the studio, I create something. So it's just a way of me communicating, telling the world how I feel and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
expressing myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because also from a cultural standpoint, to show the world who we are as a people and how we celebrate and what we celebrate and even
Mm-hmm.
why we celebrate what we celebrate.
Right. Yeah, and that's very important. Now, let us talk about who has inspired you. You mentioned some of the references here, but in terms of the techniques of the music, whether it's the rhythm, the writing, are there any particular artists in Grenada that you would say really inspired you to get at least inspired how you think about your craft?
I would say my influence is more so international and from a multi-genre standpoint because
Mm-hmm.
if you listen to my music, you find a lot of pop influence, a lot of R&B
Mm-hmm.
influence, a lot of reggae influence, a lot of dancehall influence. It's just a melting point of just a cook up everything that I listen and everything that I can relate to. Because I believe once a song is a good song, once it's good music, I give it a air and I try to listen and see if I could feel it, see if I could relate to it. And once I jam with it, I listen to it, Afro beats, everything. But from a local standpoint, I would say, especially from a younger age, I looked up to guys like the Boise, the Dash, you have the Little Natty and Thunder, just to name a few. Talpri as well. Um, that was my main influence, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
in Grenada.
Mm-hmm. 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 Very well. Some of those main influence. So let's talk about let's get down to when you're thinking about your writing and thinking about the lyrics and thinking about the beats. What comes to mind? You hear some of the older guys would say, some of the veterans in the business would say, they look at a stone and they could make a track out of that stone. They look at somebody in the village and they could make a track out
Yeah.
of that. What are some of the things that you would see around you that you say, you know what, that can make a good track?
Well, a lot of my influence come from daily life and experiences, right? And I try to get experiences that I believe are relatable in the sense that could appeal to someone's emotion, someone's physical, making a dance. Also, I sing with a band, so I would say have the experience and have the exposure to know what works because being in a band and singing on a regular basis, I get to see firsthand what the type of music people enjoy, the kind of topics people enjoy, and also just the vibe and the feel that gets people moving and gets them aroused musically. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that helps me a lot when it comes to my creating. But really and truly, it's just experiences and some I would say is inspiration as well because especially for this Jam Malasi project,
Yeah.
I would say a lot of the influence for this came from the rhythm itself. Like the rhythm just spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ian was on. He said, "Bro, we need to get this done. We need to get this done." One evening, I say, "Okay, I'll get it done today. I'm not sure if I'll get something complete, but I'll give it something, right?"
Right.
And I went to the beach. I went to the beach and I just played the rhythm for about an hour. And
Mm-hmm.
all I was hearing is beat it, beat it, beat. Just I
Yeah.
just thinking as okay, that hook just stayed with me, and I bring
Mm-hmm.
it to him, and he was like, "Yep, that is the right idea." Then after I went down again, I got stuck again. After getting the hook, beat it, I got stuck again. I went back in. There was this day. He say, "Watch, we listen the rhythm next week. I need the vocals today." I say, "Okay, how you going on? One, the song and finish. Two, producer some issues." He say, "Bro, get it done today." I say, "All right, no problem. I'll see what I can do." I went in, and half of the song actually freestyle it because it just came so natural. Like after listening the hook, listening the rhythm just spoke to me, and like it just came to me so natural, and the whole vibe and the whole feeling that the rhythm brought across. Because if you really pay a close attention to the rhythm, it had the jams in it, but behind you could still get that nice feel, and that was really what appealed to me. Because most people will go for the horns and the jab and the stuff that punching out in your face. But for me, I
Mm-hmm.
listen into the background melodies that I could get from this rhythm, man. Try
Mm-hmm.
to ride them, across my song because I try to stand out in a way from the other artists, trying to bring my soca in a more melodious way, which
Mm-hmm.
works for me, but goes against me because everything I sing, they tell me is a group.
Yeah.
Once they hear the sweet voice, you know. But at the end of the day, that's just my style. That's just my style. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
just
that's
trying to
good. And before we bring in Ian, with Jambalasi there, let us talk about working with Jambalasi and the Jambalasi folks, because they have such an important part and a place in Grenadian musical history. What was that experience
yeah.
like? And you mentioned Cap. We call him Cap, but he's Ian. But yeah.
I just say Cap. So young Cap have a long story. I released a song in 2024 called Carnival Come Again.
Hmm.
Wake up in the morning and I'm feeling a vibe. Give thanks to the Father, I'm breathing alive. That's why Carnival is Monday, traveling with Pop Jersey. Carnival Tuesday, we doing it fancy. Coming on the Port Highway, some people going till Friday, looking for them to buy it. Big up God the Almighty. We out in the streets and we doing it right. The whole of Greens come alive. I drop that tune. It didn't get so much traction, but it was getting a lot of attention, I must say. It was like, well, who is this you to this new song, this new vibe,
Hmm.
Everybody was trying to reach out, Oh, keep it up, good job, good job. But Cap actually reached out and he said, bro, see, I don't know you, but I'll see, what I could do for you in terms of getting you on programs and getting you seen. So he actually
Hmm.
gave me an interview. And yeah, since then we spoke, and we just connected. And after that, we actually got to realize that we was actually cousins. Because Tristan Charles, Ian Charles, you see about it. We that Charles from, and after we draw back and it's like, okay, well look at that. Look how small the place is.
Yeah,
So
Grenada is a very
family thing,
small place.
yeah,
so
Cap.
so
And
yeah.
yes, he always stayed in the loop with me. Even last year we didn't do any music together, but still kept the connection. We spoke, gave me a little input on what I was doing. He gave me some advice and just bouncing ideas and still here we had to do something and look, we do something now and it's history, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I want to bring in Ian here. We're going to bring in Ian Charles. Ian, there you are. Ian Charles of Jambalasi, Grenada. Ian, welcome to the Bob Report. Your uncle was here a couple of weeks ago, but it's certainly a pleasure. I see you smiling there. But even before we get into it, let's talk about the brother because we know Tris has to go. Let's talk about your journey with Tris.
Yeah, well, like he said, I reached out to him in 24 when Carnival come again. Song was so cool, and it was a new person, new voice, new vibe. So like, hey, who's this dude? So I reached out to him, and I think last year I sent him a rhythm, and he was like, yo, Cap, that rhythm too jabby, right? And then I'm a style. So I said, all right, cool. And this year with the 35, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Tris is a natural match for the 35. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when Tris sent his demo, I think I was in the car with my daughter going to training, and I literally started bawling in the car. I was like, "Yo!" I called back Tris. I was like, "Yo, bro, you got it," you know. And here we in 2026 mashing up a rhythm that is older than he is. So that just shows connection. And like you said, you know, link back we are family. So we realize the thing come full circle. And I definitely see him as one of the, you know, the the new kings, because last year was a change in the gods. If you realize the younger generation is having more of an impact right now in Spicemas and Grenada's music.
Yes,
So I
yes.
definitely see him as one of those front runners. Not only now, but the years to come, he's going to be one of the main forces. You know, so it was a great experience.
And I'm glad you referenced the changing of the guard. You know, there's always been that anxiety about, well, you know, what happens when the veterans leave the scene. And I think what Jambalasi Grenada has proven is that you're able to have that smooth intergenerational transition, but you're having that intergenerational transition in such a way as to not dilute the quality of the music, not dilute the history and the tradition of the music, right? So Tris, let's talk about that, because you know you hear folks like myself who grew up in an era when I'm aging myself here, but where we did not have Soca Monak. All we had was the Mashgra. We had Flying Cloud. We had Jambalasi. Right? If the campaign didn't pass me yard, they wouldn't know how my mouth bad. Right? That is the era we grew up in. So right now, and so the music has evolved and the music has changed so much so that has really caused some concerns among different, different generations, especially older generations. So let us talk, Tris, about in terms of moving that music and the culture forward. Let's get your thoughts on that. Should we be worried that, you know, the music is going to dilute, or you guys are going to really carry that tradition forward in a way that really represents us as Grenadians?
Well, I believe it's upon us to take it as a responsibility as young artists, as Skinny Bantan said in his song, preserve the culture. And preserving the culture, I mean, at the end of the day, it's music, it's created, it's art, so it's still free to us to add our own twist to it, but still having the natural elements or the cultural elements in the music to make it what it is. Because at the end of the day, a Grenada soca could only be a Grenada soca with certain patterns. A job rhythm could only be a job rhythm with certain patterns, as Jambalasi rightfully said. No matter, you can say job for the whole song. If you're not a pattern, if you're not a beat, it's not job song. Right? So it's just getting us as young artists to understand the rhythm, understand the lyrics, understand the different patterns and the different feel we need to bring across to connect with the people. Because at the end of the day, even if we're singing music for our generation, the older generation is still listening to. We have to kind of bridge the gap between both generations. So it's kind of a task on us having to be able to relate to the older and the younger, but still, you know, be free and open to creating something new in the space. So it's a challenge, but I think so far we're doing a pretty good job.
Ian, let's talk about the 2026 music season. I mean, there's so much amazing hits this year. In my mind, a lot of the music came out late, unless maybe I was listening to the wrong places, but I know you've always shared your drops. You've been sharing drops early enough, but I'm saying in general, I think people were like, well, you know, where is the build-up? Where is the vibe? You know, the music is coming out late. But let us talk about this year's season and the artists you've been able to collaborate with as Jambalasi Grenada, and how would you also assess the quality of the music for this year as well?
Well, we have to go back to last year, because we are still on that 2025 high. And I think that may have impacted the rollout of 2026, because music was, you know, it's just that the last year was so good that, you know, the 2025 season was still impacting 2026 very significantly. But there are beautiful music for 2026. In terms of our project for the 35 rhythm, we worked with some pioneers like Skinny Bantan, Talpri, Lava Man, Little Natty, and Thunder, and we mix it with the today's new age Tris, Booba 473, and LED. And the idea was to really bridge the gap between then and now and the future, so that the rhythm not only lives on, but the younger generation also have something that, okay, they could share on that old school rhythm. That's why Tris so good and having a massive impact on the 35 rhythm is wonderful for us, because here you have a young guy, like I said before, he's younger than the rhythm, and his interpretation of the rhythm is one of the, one of the front runners, radio release, radio plays, and the people are loving it. But besides that, we also have the headpiece rhythm, which is a very raw, gritty, low end rhythm, and it's one of the main rhythms for this year. We have people like Duan the Entertainer, who is having a marvelous year with Speed. You have Angelo and Bess with Rubber Boots. You have Temptress. You have Adrian Lenz. Doc, I think you might remember Adrian Lenz. Adrian Lenz came out with, like, remember when Lava Man them came out with Full Moon? Adrian Lenz was the jab man back in those days.
I remember that. Yeah.
All right. And then we have Tarpy jumped on the rhythm, and then you have the UK. You have Vibes King, and you also have Little Jello and Happy Boy, and they all come together. But that rhythm is solely jab. It is driven by the drums and the shell, so it's a very raw rhythm. So the two rhythms are doing, but there are other rhythms, other projects that I like. I mean, for the groovy is going to be a very interesting groovy this year. The power is going to be very interesting. But I mean, I'm going to give my personal take. This has nothing to do with John Balassi Grenada. This is my issue. Let me just put that little disclaimer out there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But the groovy is going to be like off the chains. But personally, I'm liking the Queen Kina with Celebrate. I love the tune. It has that new age bounce to it. It came out a little bit late, so the rotation on the radio needs to be amped up. But the tune is one. There is a big debate on the island: is Daisy versus Celebrate. But I'm all the way for Celebrate. Trust me, we listen to Celebrate every single day. Muddy also sounds great with Greatest Festival. Boise is Boise. You give Boise anything to sing, and he's going to be a contender. You know what I'm saying? So it has some really cool songs. Sabrina is making her debut on that front as well. She has a wonderful song. So it has some serious energy. On the power side comes the boogeyman. Booba is a lyricist,
Yeah.
Booba is not a normal person. When Booba drops lines, you have to sit down and study Booba's.
Yeah.
Booba is not rapping. Sorry, he's not spitting on normal levels. The Boogeyman tune, the Boogeyman. You never know. Perry have a bad song, Mayhem as well. You can never put the King, Muddy. So it's going to be a bumper Soca Monarch. I can't wait for a fantastic Friday.
That's one to it.
Jump in, Tris. And what are your predictions for Soca Monarch? if you're a betting man.
Can't bet, boy. I mean, I would say last year Soca Monarch teach me a lot, because I was a part of it, one, and two, the results. Because even for the groovy last year, nobody wasn't really looking out for Mr. Golden to win in the groovy. And I would say the power Soca is something like a kind of, look on the horizon and say, okay, this guy go win, that man, they top three, this person, they top three. But groovy, I believe, is something on the night. You have to bring that wow factor. And once you bring that wow factor on the night in groovy, anybody could go with that crown. So, and all the songs are good songs. So, I believe it's just who worked the hardest would win. I know Boise putting in the work. I know Sabrina putting in the work. I know you have people. Well, I know Mr. Golden, you can't leave out the King. He defending. I know he putting in the work for sure.
Yeah.
So, my opinion, I would say Boise, Sabrina, and Golden out front right now. But the other songs, perfect. I love them. Great music. Not forgetting myself jamming. I mean, we didn't make it, but we jamming still. I did in the stadium, we go and jam down. But yeah, man. The groovy looking nice. On the next side, the power, I would say the power, I know, boy. Sneaky have the song. I would say Sneaky have the winning song, meaning that is song the people choose, but you have to bring it on the night. And there are some heavy hitters inside here like Kerry and Boba and everybody. He had to come real good. So just looking out and see. Not forgetting Modi, because Modi, I would say, Modi did a smart
That's the
thing.
boss. That's the boss. You know, that's the boss. No worry saying.
It's
I'm
really
just
smart,
kidding.
and
Go
I would
ahead.
say it's kind of a historical thing too, because nobody even to this point, nobody expected that he would enter the Power Soca competition with that
Yeah.
song. A lot of people were saying, yeah, that is a great groovy selection, everything, because a lot of Grenadians don't understand the BPM concept. So everyone was, like, that's a great groovy and everything. But yeah, I believe Modi could get some trouble with that song once he bring across the whole idea and the whole feel, because a song that could get people really emotionally aroused. Not so much jumping and waving and mashing up the place, but it would hit them emotionally. So I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, Tris, we know you have to go, so we want to give you an opportunity here. Just reflecting on 2026, the season for 2026, and where you will be going from here, with your development. You working with Jambalasi, are you going to be working with other artists? What's that going to be looking like for you going forward?
Well, I would say on the horizon, just look out for, for sure, some collaborations with myself and younger artists, myself and older artists, but not too much though, because I don't want to lose, the essence of myself.
Yeah.
And get it too watered down to the point where, it's like I don't have no music for myself to show who I am, to really let my voice be heard on its own. So for sure, looking into doing some collaborations next year. Also, look out for some different style of soca music again. I always try not to experiment a lot. Try to mix genres with the soca, but still having that soca feel, and just some sweet melodies on the beats, man. Just look out for that. Look out for that sweet voice.
Tris, thank you so much for appearing on the Bob Report this week, my brother. And all the best on your future musical endeavors. And promise us you'll come back on the Bob Report in the future, not only around Carnival time, but also to discuss music, especially, especially for our audience. I think there has to be an understanding and appreciation of how your generation thinks about the music, which is different from how perhaps they were oriented and grew up into their era of music, right? And so to me, it's not whether or not the music is good or bad, but it's about really understanding how we are really carrying the culture forward,
For sure.
So thanks for saying on the program.
For having me, and
yes,
you will see me again, man. We have some big things to come. And by next year after that, if not the year after that, you will be hearing about Tris. You will be seeing Tris in New York, in Canada, in Dubai, everywhere, man. Just look out, man. Just once the eye open and once I can see, you go see me.
Correct is right. And is that.
We stopping, so just look out.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. Thank you so much for appearing on the Bob Report this week.
Yeah, man. It's not easy journey, but we're working towards it,
Yes.
So, thanks
absolutely.
For having me.
Yes.
Blessing,
take good care.
Man.
And so, yes, all the time. So take care, brother. All right. And so, Ian, we want to continue this conversation here with you, brother. Again, and we want to really broaden the conversation to this year's music. We've spoken about here briefly about the competitors for the Groovy and the Soca Monarch, but let us talk about this year's music season for Grenada. It is fair to say that Grenada has really established its place on the musical map in the Caribbean. That there is no doubt about that, right? We have some of the best producers in the business in the region. We have some of the best artists in the region. I mean, last year was such a bumper year for people like Muddy, appearing in Rolling Stone. We had Black Adan in, with Blessing, right? And a number of your artists as well who you work with. So let us talk. This is also a big year for Jambalasi. So let us talk about 2026 musically.
Well, 2026 is new for everybody because 2025 is great. So this year we have a legitimate all eyes on Grenada. Whatever hits this year in Grenada is definitely going to go worldwide again. And also look inside as well and also give credit to the Grenada Tourism Authority for all the work they've been doing with influencers with like magazines such like the Rolling Stone and Billboard and all these people. So you've been having that for the past 3-4 years. So there's a build up. The music is building, the jab is building, the interest overall in Spicemas is building. And this year is going to be like no one ever experienced a year like this. So if you're going to be successful in 26 in Grenada, definitely you're going to be on top of the Caribbean, or North America. And well, I know they have some immigration issues going on with that as well, but the Canadian scene, the European scene, the regional scene, it's going to be books. And we have great music. We
Yeah.
have great producers, as you said. So it's an exciting time to be alive. And one of our rhythms, the headpiece rhythm, is really doing very, very well on the international market as well. So we are also excited to be a part of the whole package for 2026. Never know where it's going to go. And it's just excitement. It's never before seen.
Yeah, yeah. Let us talk about that headpiece rhythm, the concept, how you conceptualized it. That rhythm keeps playing in my head all the time. I play it on my way to work. I play it from work. Every time I'm around folks, they be like, "You playing that song again?" Even when I went up to Baltimore Carnival, I was playing it up there. So let's talk about the how you conceptualized it and how it came to pass.
Well, we've been working on a rhythm from COVID, and the rhythm samples in it of live jab drums from COVID when they had, like, remember they had jab during COVID and was up in St. Anne, police and whatnot. We actually sample a phone. Say, hey, we need to just put chords and strings around this. So we tried to build it. We've been building it for the past years. It was slated to come out last year, but last year was such a different year that by the time June came around, the playlist for Green Carnival was more or less 80%. I was like, you know what? It doesn't make sense to Lego this rhythm right now to go and compete with that and already start the playlist. So as soon as I was finished last year, I sent the rhythm to everybody who's on the rhythm. And I told them, hey, I need it for Lego Carnival, knowing very well that I need it for Spice. But sometimes dealing with the creatives, they might wait until last minute. So I had to give them some extra motivation. So we got the rhythm ready and to drop the rhythm in time for the Spicemas, and it's been doing great. I think 2 days ago it was one on Apple Music streaming later. The numbers looks great. And Duan, I must big up Duan. And I'm not singling out Duan because we have some monsters on the song on the rhythm as well, but he's also pushing on the Greenhouse New York scene, which again, if you're looking at the jab community in the world, New York has a big Grenadian base, and the Greenhouse is a significant place in the whole Grenadian community in New York, and you're doing a great job. It's wonderful to be a part of a project like that. But the headpiece rhythm is just raw drums. I mean, the rhythm was raw drums. Hey, we need to give it something really jab, like the pose, the headpiece. I said, let's call it the headpiece. And that's it. Yeah, well, this year from a Jambalasi music perspective, we were solid on we have to work with the new uprising. We're going to definitely keep working with pioneers, but like I said, last year we saw evidence that, hey, the gods are changing. They might change 100%, but they change. So we deliberately send the music out to who we saw as prominent in the new uprising. Hence, you have Angelo. He's having a wonderful year. I'm not too sure what happened. Maybe his battery died or whatnot. He's not.
Yeah.
But he's having a Tris. Like I said, Tris is one of those guys that we identify as is going to be one of the faces of Grenada music within the next couple of years. LED is very, very talented. He's like an all-around musician. He also plays the steel pan as well. You have Uba 473, who's I said, he's the literal lyricist. The guy is one of those special. So the idea was to really work with the younger generation, but still have a base of the pioneers, like the Skinny Bantams, the Tyler Breeze, the Lance, the looking to really have a nice blend of Grenada's a musical talent. One hand, it is 35 years, really honing all the history together because people want to know about the doctrine. They're
Yeah.
asking questions,
Yeah.
so we link it together and make sure it will survive.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important, right? And I think Jambalasi Grenada, you guys have done an excellent job of really in very bite-sized pieces of video content, because that's how people consume media these days, right? These bite-sized pieces of understanding the history and the context and the significance of the jab, right? So that when folks come to Grenada, they have that appreciation and respect for what they are getting into. It's just not putting oil on your skin and then that's it. But the significance, the resistance, and the history behind it. And you've done such an excellent job of really doing that. And I saw that last year, and I was so impressed with that. So yes, go ahead.
Well, it is imperative that we do that
Yeah.
because we need to document, and right now, documentation in the library is the social media. So you could use the social media for whatever you want, but you have to be able to use these digital platforms to document and preserve. And like you say, in very small bits, and people need to see the seeds because when they come to Grenada, they are questions. I am fortunate enough to be a part of all of the GTA World Press things, and they're asking some very cultural questions. So
Right.
you have to have cultural answers. You need to have culture. So one of Jambalasi's main goals was to literally have verified facts, but we also seen that a lot of facts of Grenada jab is oral versus archiving, documenting. We need to start doing that. So 50, 70, 80, 100 years from now, persons could go back and say, hey, during that time, they would have documented the history and at least have it as some kind of base. So it's critical that we also do that to have some, a nationalistic representation of the gender and hypersexual, the alcoholism, the pure slang. It needs to go back to cultural relevance.
So Ian, let's segue now into a conversation about the jab. We continue to have that conversation about the jab, but the jab in the context of uh, what we are actually putting on our skin. Now, I know folks who are listening to this now might be very shocked when I tell them I don't really like the oil on my skin. That does not make me less of a jab or less than a Grenadian, folks, okay? But I think I think Ian and Jambalasi, you guys have come up with something that's really unique. And that is, you've been pushing this for a number of years. And that is the charcoal jab, right? Because, again, there is a perception in Grenada that oil is to jabbers, jabbers to oil. And I get that. But at the same time, oil was not always there. We did not have a preponderance of vehicles in Grenada in the 1930s. Right? But jab was still portrayed, right? People still play jab with the molasses or whatever it is that they had back then, right? It would be interesting, again, I don't know that history, but and maybe you do, but to look at how oil started to become part of the jab expression. But now what you're doing is the charcoal expression of jab. So let us talk about the logic and the reasoning behind you promoting that version of the jab as opposed to the regular oil from the engines that, quite frankly, is just bad for my skin, folks. It's not because I don't want to it's just bad for my skin personally. But let's hear your thoughts on that.
Well, in our research, we realized that what you use to get black has very little significance on the masquerade of jab. You would have seen whatever application change through eras. So originally you would have which is residue, you have charcoal, you have molasses, you have pigment. Then when cars and when roads built in Grenada, you will have the oil, you're gonna and then you have the paint. The paint never really had an impact. So at Jambalasi, we wanted to make sure we went back to roots. If you want to go back to your roots, you have to go back to the charcoal. And again, if you want the jab to be inclusive to all, your major tourism mass marketing tool is a job. To me, it is kind of challenging to ask persons to put the whole engine oil on their skins. And I
Yeah.
think simple, it was a very simple solution. Just go back to ancient days, go back to the charcoal. So we
Mm-hmm.
started to do that on a lab level and really pushed it. We came out with the powder at first, and then we started mixing it with the oil. So have a one-stop product. You just take it that yourself. You need no pre-body prep. It's good for you. It's good for the environment. You go home, you put any top your traditional body wash, you you get
Mm-hmm.
to play job, get black, and you're doing it in a sustainable, eco-friendly, and
Yeah.
cultural way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think national level as well, we need to look at a way to phase out the old oil. I know persons might start to laugh because I said that, but if you're looking at it from a cultural perspective, old oil is not authenticity.
Yeah.
What is authenticity is the color black.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you go to other islands like Martinique, they use the molasses and the charcoal. So all that keeps the tradition from back then. So we need to hone back in and really study the history and get this jab thing correct, because it is something that Grenada could definitely build a cultural um, economy from, because
Mm-hmm.
people love it. It is our thing. Well, it's the Afro-Caribbean thing. It could also be one of the engines for an extra income for the government.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it has to be all.
Yeah, and I'm glad you referenced that because, we talk a lot about climate change and sustainability and whatnot and whatnot and whatnot. And I have a cousin of mine who says this. He says, we talk all about climate change and all of that, but we have a controlled oil spill in Grenada every year. Carnival Monday and Tuesday, right?
Yes. Have you listen? Have you seen the drone pic of Granada's beach, all the debris and everything, everybody
Yeah,
washing up?
yeah,
That cannot be a thing for the oceans,
yeah,
the
yeah.
rivers, or the streets, or wherever people go to get clean. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we have to sit. The jab thing is international. This is a
Yeah.
major product. It needs a little bit. We need to now shape it in such a way now that it holds on to the cultural and traditional aspects, but you also make it ready for the carnival market. And the carnival market is a very, very competitive one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely correct. And as you said, folks can now easily go to Martinique and Guadeloupe, right?
Mhm.
For easily, so it's something we really have to think about. And I think, perhaps with your relationship with the tourism authority and so on, maybe that's something that we can lobby hard for, that should be included in packages, you know.
Correct.
But the other trend that I'm seeing, and I want to get your thoughts on that, and that has to do with this business of selling Jab packages. I mean, I'm not going to mention any mass band or anything that does that. I find that very problematic because,
Why?
uh, well, I find it problematic because I don't think Jab is something that you should be selling as a package. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Let's hear your thoughts on it, though.
Well, I tend to look at these things as the price you pay for development in the culture. Like I say, Jab has. I mean, where Jab is right now, and never
Hmm.
is. It's is one of the major reasons people buy Spicemas. And with those sort of development, you will have packaging, you will have merchandising, and that's part of the nature of the beast. My thing is that at least try to keep it traditional, try to keep it cultural versus just straight mass production. But on from a personal level, again, this is not the views of John Balassi, this is the views of me now. I have no issue with the packaging because it goes with the territory. Because a lot of work was done over the past 4, 5, 6, 10 years to promote Grenada. Now we've seen the results of these promotions, these press trips and whatnot, and
Hmm.
people are coming to the island. Crashes are coming, the hotels, the Airbnbs, houses are packed, and the people who are coming in, they want merchandising, they want packages, they want a one-stop shop So hey, let's go on time. I need my helmet, I need my charcoal, I need my horns, I need my chains, I need my scrub, whatever. So these are new niche markets now that every Grenadian could now look into and start building an economy. That what I was saying earlier. We have a lot of ways now to really get and push the culture. A bit different with the jab because jab is still relatively. If you're playing with the old oil, I mean, I don't think anybody for old oil, so you can still get it free. The helmets, if you're a Grenadian, you could build your own helmet. A friend could build your helmet. You could get a one or two from a farmer or whatnot. So we still have, in terms of the Grenadians, I think we still have dominion over the jab fraternity. But for the foreigners, the persons who are coming in, the carnival crashers, I think they want a more curated experience. They want a one-stop shop. They want easy accessibility. And again, this is where the national entities and the promoters come in to really have a standardized something, and have it readily available for the foreigners. But in terms of we the locals, I don't think it'll ever be like an access issue for us. I don't think so. Maybe the fets. Some of the fets are getting up there in
the pricing.
Yeah. But I still think it's pretty pristine for us down here to just get up and go when we need to.
But I will tell you something. I'm giving an endorsement to the charcoal for people like myself who, again, get the charcoal, folks. It really. Yes, so. All right, Ian, any final comments as we get into the rest of the season, as the season kicks into high gear, some may say overdrive, you're not getting a lot of sleep, you're going to all the fets, all the shows, things like that. And let's get some final comments from you as we get into the final and the climax of this year's Spicemas 26.
Well, I mean, I just want everybody to have fun. It's gonna be a great week coming up into next week. The Soca Monarch, I say, I am very pumped for the Soca Monarch, and the shows have been starting on time, so you got to get there on time. And from since the first to the last for both of the competitions is straight fire. Just be vigilant, do what you have to do, enjoy it. I mean, safe carnival, no fights, no guns. Just enjoy it and let Grenada have a wonderful Spicemas 2026. So 2027 will be even bigger, even better. The producers, let's continue making good music, learn the jab rhythm. The producers understand the jab pattern. In that way, now we could a faster turnover in really solidifying what a jab rhythm is, because that is still up for debate. A jab song versus singing about jab. You could sing about jab on any beat, and that doesn't make it a song. I mean, a jab rhythm. So all that we need to get a little bit of intricate working on a national level. So get bigger and bigger. Spicemas gets bigger. Our artists get bigger. Our rhythms go further. We have a really solid base for it, and continue to celebrate.
Ian Charles, thank you so much for appearing on this week's edition of the Bob Report.
Thank you for having me, Kellan.
Yes. Viewers and listeners, this is the Bob Report. We just had a very extensive conversation there with the folks at Jambalasi Grenada in the build-up to Spicemas 2026. Earlier we spoke with Tris, and now we spoke with Ian there about all of the good music that Jambalasi has been able to put out this year, and working with a lot of the artists, especially that headpiece rhythm that really has gone viral in many respects. You have people like Duan the Entertainer. Duan the Entertainer, he's an eccentric guy as it is already, but I think that has taken on he has taken on a new life of his own now, I think, with that song. So this is our carnival program, folks, and what we want to do is to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this.
Don't go there.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of your answer.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me here for much more than diplomatic passports. I don't mind that.
Don't go there.
What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there.
They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not too sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. But let us talk. Let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bub Report.
Viewers and listeners, welcome back to this week's edition of the Bub Report as we're continuing our conversation on the countdown to Spicemas 2026. And as we continue with our interactions with the Jambalasi Grenada folks, we're happy to be joined by the other panelists that we advertise, and that is a soca artist who is really blazing the trail in 2026. Everywhere you turn, you're hearing his music. And we are happy now to be joined by the one and only Angelo. Angelo, welcome to this week's edition of the Bub Report, sir.
Good day. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So let us talk about, you have three big tracks this year. Before we get into the music that you were able to produce this year, let's talk about how this season has been for you.
Well, this season has been very good. Even better than I expected. I expected good things, but it hasn't filled my expectations, you know. I've been getting a lot of love from people in the industry, which are artists, DJs, and you, and the listening audience as well. So it's been very, very good.
So let us talk about your tracks for 2026 and the ones that have been really getting a lot of play. Let's talk about the concepts first of all, how you were able to conceptualize those tracks.
Well, right now my main trending songs are Rubber Boots, Super Soca, No Fox to Give, and Rough It Up. So that's 4 songs. Each song is unique in terms of topic and style, given song. 2 similar. For Rubber Boots, it's a traditional song. The rhythm is a headpiece rhythm, as you may know. So I wanted to do something traditional on it and something that can resonate with people. I always try to relate to the music. Same for Fit Up. Is the vibes in it is just major party song and people resonate with it a lot. Super Soca, that one is more loved by, I would say it's loved by a lot of people, but more so the younger audience, because it's more playful kind of song. So the younger folks gravitate to that one a lot. And which one, No Fox to Give. Everybody love that one. That one is a no double entendre, same as Rubber Boots. So yeah, they have been receiving a lot of love and a lot of airplay and everything.
I really like No Fox to Give. I have that on repeat. Let us talk about that headpiece rhythm. When you got the sample of that rhythm, how did you start working with it and say to yourself, you know what, that I could actually put pen to paper and really write some music that would match that rhythm?
Well, I got the rhythm sometime, I think it was sometime last year. Ian reached out to me. Big up, yeah. That was last November. And I was just listening to the rhythm. I didn't have a full idea as if I just had like a flow. So, in Rubber Boots, the main clients bang I road with the rubber boots. So I was just humming that because it reminded me of one of those old time songs that was Frisco Sprat. And well, you should know Frisco Sprat. One of the elders in the business.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, those kind of flows. I was getting those kind of old kind of flows. So I said I wanted to do something similar in terms of the style, but modernize it in my own way. And I think that's what I captured with Rubber Boots. It's if you listen to the song, I said it's a modern classic, right? Because he was kind of inspired by the old style of music or job music at the time, but we put a modern twist it or own twist to create what you hear right now, which is Rubber Boots on that rhythm.
Let us talk about how this season has been for you. In terms of the reception from your fans, and I understand you've been getting a lot of bookings, so you've been booked and busy, which is a good thing. but let us talk about how you're going to rate this season for you.
Well, this season has been nothing short of spectacular. The love, the messages from the fans, even from, as I said before, people in the industry, so radio personalities, DJs. They are loving the music. I would say that I'm being recognized by a lot of people as well. You would see probably like bunch of couple posts about me, people posting about me, speaking good things of course about the music and just seeing the hard work and the energy I put in this year. And I'm just receiving the love, and I'm thankful for it. Thank God because we prayed for this. We continue to be praying for this and to continue to be elevating. This has just been great, and I'm all here for it. I'm all for it and loving it.
Yeah. As I was the conversation we were having with Cap for this segment earlier, one of the things that we discussed was just about how you're able to bridge, the future with the past. And one of the things you just mentioned, Sprat here, as was somebody from the older generation. And I think there has been, our audience tends to skew a particular age. I'm not going to say old because some people might cuss me out if I say old, but the point is, there is always this concern that, the newer generation of soca artists does not really give credence and pay respect to what the older generation has been able to do. And really, essentially, in terms of bringing the culture forward, that you appreciate what was done in the past. So let's get your thought process on that. How much of, history do you consider, musical history that is, do you consider when you think about how you are composing and producing the music?
First of all, I listen a lot of old school soca as well. Even up to this day, I've been doing it. So not just to like learn how well it's fascinating how the elders used to do it. It's different how we do it now. So just learning and listening like certain topics or the style in which he used to put on the music before it's always been interesting to me. So even from them randomly during the year, I would just listen to some old music, some old Grenadian music, like we're looking at like 2005. So I was listening to old school Talpri, Mario Castle, all these names, General PP from before. So I have realized that a lot of our music as young artists, it would resonate with the younger crowd. And I mean, the older crowd is harder to please. They are. So,
This is very true. This is very true about the older crowd being harder to please.
Harder to please. But when you know for sure, once they like a song, well, it's good. It's good. So, I wanted to do a song that could, as I say, bridge the gap and have listeners from all ages. And I wasn't sure which song it would have been yet, but it looks like Rubber Boots is the one. Because as I believe it's because of its traditional nature and stuff. Yeah, so I wanted to do like a topic that that everybody can relate to, all ages. And I like to implement a lot of, I would say, reality and humor in some of my music. So I imported that in Rubber Boots as well. And it did just what I expected it to do in terms of capturing that attention of the older crowd, even and the younger crowd. So that was in itself, it was, I would say it was kind of tricky, but you know, in terms of the writing and stuff to get it down packed so that everybody could relate to it. It was a bit tricky, but you know, we got it done and stuff, yeah. I ain't hearing you. I ain't hearing you.
Let us talk about your collaboration with Jambalasi Grenada. They're a staple in the music business in Grenada. They go back from way back in the 80s and 90s, and they still continue to do really amazing work. Let us talk about why you chose Jambalasi Grenada specifically to work with as an artist.
Well, first of all, he had reached out to me, which I'm very grateful for, because even before that, I used to listen the rhythms produced by Jambalasi, and it was once I got the rhythm, the epic rhythm from them, I was like, yo, I have to be on this rhythm because Jambalasi is a big movement, big thing, you know, and you know, the history behind Moss International and stuff. So it wasn't a rhythm, it wasn't an opportunity I wanted to pass up, and I wanted to put my best foot forward on the rhythm in terms of composing something very good and something, you know, that was worthwhile, a song that was worthwhile. And I did just that. Ian and the team worked with me in terms of to ensure that I was comfortable with the vocals and everything and mixing everything. So we worked together and we created a great product. I'm not hearing you again.
Yeah, looking forward to Soca Monarch and Groovy Monarch. What are you a betting man? How do you see Groovy and Soca going?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I bet. I just try to make I would say a musically educated analysis based on what I see. You know, for me, it could go. I mean, for the Groovy, I think Boise might win. That's why I think so. For the Power, though, the Power is a wild card, I'm not sure, because you have a lot of good songs in the Power. Well, I mean, the Groovy as well. I would not get me wrong in terms of the sound, the quality of songs, but I don't know, something about Boys just stand out to me in terms of winning. But for the Power, a lot of good songs, and the competition is close. So between Modi, Kerry, Booba, even Sneaky, Loonspark and Electrify is there as well. Even Mansley could be upset as well. So I'm not too sure how the Power would go, but those people I called, to me, these songs like they would be in the top 5, not in any particular order. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not in here again.
How would you rate the quality of music this year? I mean, you are part of it, right? So, how would you say this season has gone musically overall?
I would rate this year's music out of 10. I could give it a solid 9. I would say this year a lot of the younger artists showed up and did their thing, including myself. Not to take away anything from the more established artists, but I think the younger artists really showed up this year. I'm loving the vibes of the music. There's a lot of great songs out there. I'm in the industry, so I listen a lot of the music as well. Even that the average listener might not get to hear it, because, you know, let's be real, sometimes there are good songs that get or get overshadowed during the year. So to me, there's a lot of good songs from a lot of the younger artists. Kudos to them. And yeah, I think the music is great, and that just shows that the future of the soca music in Grenada is in good hands. Because a lot of young guys doing a lot of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and you know, Grenada has been really put on the map in terms of the production quality for the music, in terms of the artists we have been able to produce over the years. So I think that is a good sign for the music. Any final comments before we get to the next segment?
Well, as I said, I just want to big up the fans, big up all the listeners as well. If you haven't streamed my music as it, you can check it out. Angelo on all social media platforms, YouTube as well. And you know, I just want to big up you, Mr. Bob, for having me here. You know, it's a love. Appreciate it.
I must. It's the first time I'm here to see me on your clock in Parliament. And I must welcome him. You know, we go back long, Mr. Speaker. You know, other roles. We constantly talk to each other and sang about each other. And you know something? He got many crowns singing about me. And I got many opportunity to win elections through the songs that he made. So I think we both helped each other. So I'm very happy to see my friend, my friend here at Parliament today. Right, Mr. Speaker?
No, I know you is a big man. I can tell you what to do. But let me ask you, Dad, now that you go. Oh, God, tell me what am I supposed to sing without you? I have been singing on you so long. What am I supposed to sing without you? How am I supposed to carry on when all that I've been singing for is gone? Now everyone I hold it. Keep me a black. I want a radar. Give me a radar. I want a radar. I'm making your man with it. I want a radar. Give me a radar. I want a radar. I'm making the US with it. I want to see that clear. I want a radar. They hold with my man out there. Give me a radar. Yes, I want to spot them bees. Ready to do the nastiness. If I had a radar, I ain't afraid to say, lovely Alejandra would be alive today. Cause I would have a lot, they messes you fast, let them holding in down. And no, mother, want a radar, need a radar, I want a radar, need a radar.
was no audio. I was saying, if the priest could play, if the priest could sing, then who is me, right? I suppose Father Paul would tell us that. But folks, as we continue the countdown to Spicemas 2026, what we have done for the next segment is to assemble a star-studded cast of CAISO veterans and a newcomer for this segment. But before we do, folks, we want to hear from you. How are you celebrating Spicemas 2026? Are you playing jab? Are you playing traditional or fancy mass? Which steel pan are you supporting? And as David Seals has reminded us, the pan houses are in full effect now with the young players working on their music. So folks, please go out and support the various steel bands, because of course steel pan is an integral part of Carnival and the culture. So what about Monday Night Mass? Is anyone here playing Monday Night Mass? Now, as for me and my friends, we will be playing some fancy mass. I plan to do, go up to St. David's for Tuesday morning Juve as well. But I will be playing fancy mass with Oro Luxury Carnival on the road for Carnival Monday and Tuesday. Now, in 2026, Oro presents Fifth Gear, which features high energy, speed, and acceleration inspired by sections such as Aero, Blush, Circuit Breaker, Lumeria, Nitro, Rose, Torque, Traction, Turbo, and Velocia. So Oro's theme for 2026 and emphasizes power, precision, and a unified, fast-paced road experience. So if you want to see me for Carnival, you have to be with Oro Luxury Carnival. Now for the next segment, as I said, we are joined by a priest and two CAISO veterans as we segue into the conversation on CAISO. We will reflect on the 2026 CAISO 10th season, the music, as well as the issues affecting the culture overall. So I'm happy to be joined by my fellow St. Davidian here, Rootsman Kelly, my neighbor from St. David's, as well as Father Gerard Paul. Yes, absolutely. Father Paul has been a parish priest in St. David's for a long time. So Father Paul, welcome to the Bob Report this week. And last but by no means least,
thank you very much.
We have the veteran here, Finley Jeffrey, the scholar.
Welcome. Yeah.
So, gentlemen, I thought it was important to assemble this very important cast from diverse ranges on the CAISO spectrum in Grenada. So I want to begin on a positive note because, you know, in the context of Calypso, there are multiple challenges. Scholar, Rootsman Kelly, you guys have articulated those challenges all the time. You know, you've gone to bat for the art form and so on. But I want to start on a positive note. Let's talk about the positive aspects of the season so far, as you see it. Kelly, we'll begin with you on that.
Yeah, one thing that I've noticed this year is the coming forth of the younger artists. You know, I love to see that, you know, the younger people showing interest in CAISO, because we hear nobody else CAISO dying, CAISO dying, CAISO dying.
Yes.
You know, so it brings a lot of joy to my heart, you know, when I see people like Scholar and myself about to vacate the scene. You know, it's so good to see somebody young artists now, you know, coming to the fore. So that's one of the main things that I'm really delighted about.
Mm-hmm. Finley.
Yeah, well, thank you, Dr. Bob. Well, there are quite a few positives. For one, the Spicemas Corporation, and I will give the young CEO, new CEO who's there, a lot of praise. I am seeing a difference. I'm seeing a difference in terms of posturing, in terms of the way that they are treating Calypsonians this year. There is just a better level of respect. It is like suddenly there is an understanding that we are the main people, and without us, there is no carnival. And I am seeing, honestly, that there is a great attempt to be respectful, to be cordial, to treat us in the manner that you know we have always clamored for them to be treating us. There's still room, there's still a lot to go. I mean, this year we saw that in Coxidal's time in early 2015, around there. But this year they paid Calypsonians. As you walk off the stage, I see Rootsman Kelly and them getting checked. I mean, Ask him for a change in
So
Ethiopia.
you don't get in check too, Scholar. You're saying Rootsman
We
for
I
you and
don't
them.
Nice
I don't
You
get
don't
no
question,
get in
check.
Dr.
check
Bob.
too.
I get no check. I ain't get no check. It's man, I'm not gonna
You
get
don't
check.
understand. Don't put Rootsman on the spot like that. Eh?
Yeah,
A bad for Rootsman, you know.
no,
Well,
but I've seen it and the way
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
yeah, the way that so this is to me, it's a plus. There is a sense that they want to dialogue to find out what it is that Calypsonians want, and then on top of all of that, this year the Junior Calypso Monarch competition was named after Teacher Eddie, who is a servant of Calypso. And let me add that this was made possible because of the insistence of GPAC, right? I mean, a lot of people don't know it, but Trevor Friday and Brian Griffith competitions, it was GPAC who lobbied for it. We had to write proposals and all kind of thing. So it wasn't Spicemas. And this year again, we lobbied, and the Junior Calypso Monarch is named after somebody who's living, somebody who's working with the young people, have worked with the young people for the last 30 or so years. And this, for me, if anything else, this is the best thing that have happened in Spicemas.
Father Paul, welcome to,
Yes.
shall we say, the secular side of things, if you will, as a man of the cloth, Father Paul. But Father
Yes.
Paul, before we get into the two songs, Radar is my favorite, by the way, of the two songs that you did this year. What inspired you to get involved in the Calypso business? We know for years you've played jab, and anytime I think of Father Paul playing jab, I think of that old Kaiso from Trinidad, if the priest could play, who is me? And you've given us permission to really play mass, if you will, as the priest, right? But let us talk about you getting involved in the Calypso business, and it is clear that you have a love for culture. I suspect Tivoli has something to do with that. But let's talk about why you decided to get involved in Calypso this year.
So, correction, first of all, I am from Conference in St. Andrews. Everybody believe I'm from Tivoli, because Tivoli is a little village that has made itself very, very big for reasons I wouldn't discuss. But I'm from Conference, I'm very proud of that.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother,
Thanks for
if
that
a letter
correction.
came in the post office saying Tivoli, she would be mad for 48 hours. If it said La Poetry, she would say Conference. And I do hold all the time. Livingston and I have this chat back and forth that, Conference is a very unique village in the middle of Tivoli and La Poetry. And put two of them together, Conference is much, much bigger than them. Okay, you're asking about why I have gotten involved. I think the opportunity has just presented itself. Sometimes we dream about all kinds of things in our lives. We dream of various careers, and the opportunities don't come. Every time we are busy with one thing or the other in our lives, I think the opportunity came. And it's not entirely new. When I was at seminary in Trinidad, I sang and came second in our Calypso competition. We used to have a big Calypso competition. A couple thousand people will come up in our yard and we would sing and so on. And I very much remember myself getting inspiration while I was in the toilet. I ran and write down the first two verses and chorus. So so that answers it. I am always involved in culture at many levels. I do not think somebody could be real without being steeped in their culture. And I had been involved as a teenager and early 20s in a lot of acting, cultural, the acting art, that art. We've been used to do a lot of plays and a lot of skits and so on. So it's not anything entirely new to me, but it's something being revived in my old age. I'm not hearing you now if you're hearing me.
Okay, yes, I'm hearing you now. Go ahead. You should be able to hear me now. I'm
Yes.
absolutely certain that you know, folks will be looking forward to your Dimashgra. You made it all the way to the big stage. I mean, that must be a feat that you're proud of.
Yes, I'm proud and happy of it, but I'm much more proud of Scholar, the Grandmaster. He is the man behind it all. He does all my writing for me. And even when I do not give him much of a context, as in the case with the Raider, he puts it all together. And Scholar is Scholar. You just call the name. I cannot add to it by wasting words. I mean, the man is phenomenal. The man, as I said, is a grandmaster, and the man is very generous, very generous. He is a teacher by profession. He will always be a teacher. And because of his good teaching and his good nurturing, I have reached that far. I would not claim any credit for that.
Absolutely. Rootsman, let me bring you back here. And again, honing in specifically on the 2026 Calypso season. And we want to begin by talking, at least pick up on, you mentioned the youthful participation in this year's Kaiso season. Let us talk about what would you say in the context of your tent, Kaiso Classic, what would you say has accounted for that on your end? Is it that you guys have gone out there and started to recruit people to come in? Is it that, you know, they've seen the music and the impact of the music? And so talk to us about how that happened in terms of getting that youthful participation.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of youths, they are very happy to make the transition from soca, because most of the artists you see in the Calypso arena this year be familiar with soca music. Lil Jello,
yeah,
even IMG over the years. I heard IMG made a statement that he said that over the years he was singing soca and there was no benefit, and as he entered Calypso, you know, he could see he could see himself reaping the benefits of Calypso. You know, it's a more laid back kind of genre. You know, so as you get a little bit older, then automatically you would be attracted to something a little more laid back. You understand? Of course, I mean, people like Scholar, myself, Teacher Eddie, and you know, others in the business have been advocating for you. We've been calling on the youths, you know, to come into the fold. We've been calling, you know, because this, in order to sustain this thing, we need the youthfulness in Calypso. We need it. You know, there are certain programs through the years that was taking place. For instance, there used to be the GUT Pass the Torch Calypso program. You know, I know Mr. Braffett, that Buckley Braffett used to conduct a program from the Ministry of Culture also, you know, trying to recruit some of the younger artists. We used to have these seminars throughout the country. And I think all these little bits and pieces, you know, it adds up and you know, create that attraction for the youths to be coming to the fold right now. You know, I mean, another thing again, the prize money was raised over the years. You know, money is always an added attraction. You know, when Kaiso singing for a few pence, you know what I mean. But now you know, I don't know, Scholar I don't know how much money he got last year. You know, maybe 100. I don't know. But you know, when I won in 2023, the price was raised to $75,000, which is, you know, a nice little piece of change. So I think this is an added attraction for somebody youths to come into the Calypso. You know, and Calypso is the main genre of all the Caribbean music, you know. But who doesn't know? Calypso is even the mother of reggae, dancehall, and all the other Caribbean genres, you know, came from Calypso. You know, so with the awareness, with the constant, you know, the constant awareness that people like, you know, the older artists trying to explain to the youths, I think this also create an attraction, you know. So I think these are some of the reasons why we teach so many young people now. And another thing again is some of the young people, they're not very familiar with composing calypsos. You know, so if they have somebody to help them, to guide them, because a lot of people want to sing calypso, you know, but it's a lot more challenging to compose a calypso than to compose a soca, for example. You know, so if they have that assistance, I think a lot of young people would be interested in coming to sing calypso.
Yes, Scholar, please pick up on that. Has that been your experience as well in your tent?
Now, well, most of our rootsman says most of it is point on. But I just want to pick up on the last point that he made, because that could also be a law, right? But it is also a worry in itself that the young people are coming. Great, and you saw Jeremiah, for example, first year into the finals, JLO, and so we're seeing the young people are coming in. But what we're not seeing, which is a worry, is the young people writing for themselves. And that in itself is a worry, because the old Scholar and Rootsman and Neil Ferguson and Weezer and Ajamu and Soa Sopant, and those are the main writers in the whole thing. So even if we are dubbed and termed the older senior citizens, but it is still the senior citizens who have and nourishes and has the oil of the younger people burning so that they can come and contribute. And this for me is a worry, because the day that, God forbid, and we may, I hope we not see that these pens, the ink run dry, or the men decide they ain't wetting it in the fountain no more to write. Yeah, I don't know what would happen to Calypso. It's a thought down the road. I know that there is a saying that the universe always takes care of things, and nobody is missed really. One man gone, somebody just falls in, and so I hope that we are there, we are writing, so they are not fighting up for themselves. But if we're not there, somebody will take the place. But it's a worry to me that the younger people are coming, and of all of the young people, the only one who writes for himself is Prince Charlton. None other writes.
Rootsman, how do we fix that? Because again, the culture is only as strong as how we're able to pass it on, and how people are able to rise up to be able to
When it comes to the
carry on
writing,
those traditions. Yes.
I think this thing should start from school. Honestly,
Okay.
from primary school onward, the Ministry of Education need to put certain people with that particular skill in schools to pass on that talent, to pass on this, to train the youths to write calypso music. Workshops could be had, as I say, from school. Well, my tent in particular, we discussed undertaking a project like that, to train the youth. We want to have a youth arm of our Calypso tent. We want to have a youth department, where the youths would be trained in not just singing, as scholars say, but mainly in composing their own music, in composing and in all the other aspects of the art form, stage performance.
Mr. Bob, they're gone.
Let Rootsman finish.
Oh,
Call and then we'll bring you in. Yes.
I thought he had finished, because I'm not hearing anything.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you're not hearing him? Go ahead. Are you hearing him now?
Yes.
Right. So yeah, we intend to undertake that special project. It's already on stream. We laid the foundation this year. We got a little sponsorship to go forward with the program, because it's something that's really dear to me. Because as Scholar was saying, the youths really need to be able to compose their own songs. There are different calypso. There are singers of calypso. There are composers of calypso, and there are the true Caisonians, those who compose and perform their own material. In my opinion, that's the real true Caisonians. So we need to develop these type of people. From as next month, as soon as the carnival over, we intend to recruit some of the younger people. Well, we already have a few that shows interest, Moti and some of the other young artists from St. David. We intend to put them in the tent, have workshops for them, and create other avenues so they could develop the skill of composing, writing their own material. Because it's really frightening for real, when you look at it, because take for instance this year, most of the young people you're seeing inside the finals this year. Come on. We all know who is behind it,
Yeah.
So these are things
that is very important, because I've been saying for years, we need to have in our school system a cultural studies curriculum, and that cultural studies curriculum has to take into account things like calypso, pan, steel band, calypso, pan, mass, right? It has to take into account teaching people how to do wire bending. It has to take into account teaching people how to play pan, but not only how to play pan, but how to tune the pan. It has to take into account the writing that we're talking about today. We have an Office of Creative Affairs. They talk about creative affairs and all of that. And perhaps that is something that they should take on board. Creative affairs should not only be about content creation. I'm just sorry, I just had to put that out there. I have a bias for that, but but scholar, let's hear your thoughts. I mean, I think it's critical that as an educator, why don't we have a cultural studies curriculum in schools? You ask the average child in Grenada about the history or the etymology of jab, or who invented soca, or who invented steel pan, they can't tell you. But they could tell you everything about Busta Rhymes, they could tell you everything about Rihanna, they could tell you everything about whoever. They could tell you everything about the dancehall artists in Jamaica, but they can't tell you anything about the culture, about their own indigenous culture, their own identity. So how do we fix that?
Well,
As an educator, scholar, I'm putting you on the spot.
You're not putting me on the spot. You're speaking to the converted. It takes political will. It takes a lot of. I mean, it's just will. That's all it takes. You outline the whole melange of solution right there in this one little thing. I mean, you're passionate about what you say, but I'm
very passionate about it.
In there lies the solution. It's just that somebody has to now have the political will to make it happen. I mean, the curriculum as it stands now is inundated, and I would say inundated with a lot of nonsense. All kind of people coming out from wherever they come out. You know who pays the piper calls the tune. So you have all kind of organizations all over the place coming. They dangle some money and they say, "Listen, we want that in your curriculum." It's the white people are colonizing us all over again, and we don't know, in our school system. And something like this that is so plausible that I mean makes so much sense. We have time for that, because the people who are coming in with the funding and so on, they have time for that, and they want us to have time for that and to tap into that well of consciousness that we have to bring out our creatives and so on. Because let me tell you something, creatives could crash everything in terms of all what the colonial people have been built and so on. Look at Bob Marley and so on has done. So creatives could crash that in one fell swoop. So it is not in their interest to provide money and so on to do that. And so as a country, we have to be steadfast. We have to be the leaders and the people who make policy decisions. They have to have the political will and say, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. If you don't know what to do, just listen to call Dr. Bob, make him get vexed, and let him start to expatiate. And from his expatiating, you get in all what we have to do. But I just want to also put
I wish I had that influence, but I don't. I'm a humble guy doing a Sunday show.
Well, it's strange that a man as you don't have all that influence. It's strange, but let me also just put, and it may sound as joke, right? But it's a reality that we are grappling with, that we have to grapple with, right? Yeah. AI is doing a lot of the writing these days, so maybe it's a way to go. Yeah, it's a problem.
It is a serious problem,
and we've heard a lot about it in the media. CXC has decided that they are not going to continue extendedly with this SBA thing because AI, the children are now becoming skillful in AI, and they are thinking no more the AI doing the SBA and so on.
There's zero critical thinking.
Zero critical thinking, all right? But it is something that we have to grapple with because we have seen it this year. There has been conversations. AI has written some calypsos and I dare say soca, even in Grenada, but in the region as well. And St. Vincent, I know, has put a policy to try to curb it or to streamline or whatever you want to say. So it's something that we'll have to grapple with at some point in time. But Richmond, I dare say that we may become obsolete in a couple of years. The young people, AI might write for them.
I would hate that to be a reality because AI does not understand our cultural realities and our lived experiences. There is no substitute for those lived experiences, for history and tradition. There is no substitute for me going into a Kaiso tent and listening to a Rootsman Kelly or a scholar, or back in the day, for me, it was Wizard and Squeezy and Smokey and all those guys, right? Even Mr. X. I resign, remember Mr. X? But Father Paul, let's hear your thoughts on that. You know, you're one of the new entrants. I suspect you would also be bringing some of those passions into the art form as well. I want you to pick up on that conversation. How do we expertly and skillfully and with knowledge really ensure that the Calypso business remains sustainable as part of our cultural identity?
Yes, I don't know. Have you lost me?
Yes, it looks like you're frozen there. If you can log off and log back on again,
Yes.
because sometimes that internet is an issue
You're
sometimes.
hearing me
But
now?
while we, yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead, Father Paul. We can hear you, but you're
Okay.
frozen. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. Can you
Can you
repeat the
repeat the question?
question, please?
Yes, let me add you now. Hold on. Yes, so the question is, Father Paul, you had this conversation here about really lamenting and bemoaning the fact that, yes, we have a lot of writers, but the talent pool of writers is small. In the context of really also maintaining that cultural identity, how do we ensure that we can have a new generation of writers? Scholar and Kelly have proposed that we do that in the context of the school system. Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Well, I don't have anything to add. I'm getting that double voice here. I don't have anything to add apart from what you have just articulated, Ruthman Kelly and Scholar himself. What I can say though, I think any effort to revive culture, you will find the instrument, you will find all what it takes in the culture itself. So, I mean, let me say this, everything is culture. Culture is the foundation of anything, anything that has been created, anything great that has come to our world. It's embedded in the culture. You take, for example, the religious people like to think and believe and falsely led to believe that religion is the topmost. Religion is everything. You know, once you get religion right, you get everything right. But they don't even know that religion is a subset of the culture. It is part of the culture. It is the culture that carry religion. It's the culture that carry all kinds of creativity. The fact that we do not have many skilled workers, carpenters, masons, what you have it is simply because a failure of the culture that it would not carry. So I'll say is what you all have all articulated in terms of education going into the school, the culture being a big part of education is tremendous because you need the culture is what carries everything. I'm sorry, the
No,
voice is reverberating and it's confusing me.
Just hold on, here. Let me fix this now. Hold on. You should be able to. It should be better now. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
better now.
fantastic. No, it's
Great,
fantastic.
excellent,
But I just
excellent.
said what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So Father Paul, two big tunes this year. Gaza, and we continue to see that humanitarian war crime that's happening, and you know the so-called civilized Western world is just turning a blind eye to it, because you know. But we can have a whole other conversation on that. And then I Want a Radar. I mean, it reminds me of, you know, the days of, and Rusman Kelly has also been an artist, and we're going to bring him in to talk about his. I have the full list here of some of Kelly's work. But it reminds me of the days of in the 90s with Black Wizard and Mr. X and, you know, Smokey and Squeezy and these guys, when a lot of what Dimashqa was, you know, these hard-hitting social commentaries that really focused on global issues, because that is what the Kaiso artist does fundamentally, is to shine a light on those issues. So let's talk about how you were able to bring that passion, especially in the context of Gaza, from the pulpit to the Calypso tent?
Yes, and I probably preface that by saying, unfortunately, the heart of religion is not what we live daily. You know, I don't want to be long, but if you go into scriptures, the
It's
life
Sunday,
I
Father.
try.
You can give us a sermon. It's okay. It's Sunday.
Yes, the life that two true religious people, and more rightly speaking, spiritual people try to live, is a life that is real. It has to do with every aspect of life. You know, the scripture says, if the rain, thank God for the rain, because if the rain don't come, we don't get grapes and we don't get wine to drink. Realistic stuff. The scripture, you know, Amos chapter 4, 20, chapter 5, 21 and following says, I am tired of your strumming and your harps and your musical instruments. I am tired of your singing and you shouting to me. And then he goes right into it. He says, let justice reign like an ever-flowing river. The heart of the gospel is justice. As a matter of fact, the Old Testament stands on two pillars, Mishpat and Sidaka, justice and mercy. And the Catholic Church has a huge book, a very huge book. It's called the Bible on Social Teaching, the Bible of Social Teaching, written from 1891, Pope Leo XIII back there. Guys, priests, and mainly bishops and archbishops and popes and so on would have written very, very sound documents biblically based on social teaching and how we should be living and how religion is supposed to be, of all the many things that it does, a critic on our daily lives. But we have forgotten that completely. We don't want to hear about social justice. I mean, how could in the world a genocide taking place? And I heard no important Catholic figure condemning the genocide. And it's supposed to be a strange thing that I condemn the genocide, the archbishop that came from St. Lucia. I know him well, as all of us being young in this thing about being priests and so on. He said that when people come to worship, they need a clean space. In other words, don't mix up our nice religious service. We're talking about justice. But what is the goal of religion? What are we being religious about? You know, as a matter of fact, what is the goal of spirituality? So we have lost it completely. So when the Gaza genocide started, I, like many, many people around the globe, I mean, I can't describe. You know, you cannot believe what is happening. How a country that says it's religious and comes from God and all of that, Israel, namely speaking, just killing children, women, innocent people. I mean, it's not under any guise, just watching them and killing them in their thousands. And then the Catholic Church says nothing. And then religion in general says nothing. In recent times, I think earlier this year, this present Pope started talking, saying little things about the genocide and saying a few things about social justice, as if that is not supposed to be our duty. That is, we are duty bound to speak against injustice. So I spoke against it and I was suspended. I'm still suspended from church activities, official church activities. I understand now they have gone to Rome to defrock me. Now they could do what they want. It really does not matter me. You know, it does not matter me. But not to get hung up on the personal thing. That's the core of what religion is about. Mispat and Sidaka, justice and mercy. And you see it even in the court system, you know, and it comes from Christianity. In the court system, a fella commits the worst crime, kill mother, father, daughter, and son, and he's taken before the court, and justice has to be done. Justice has to be realized in that situation. And coming towards the end, maybe they have sentenced him already. They haven't sentenced him yet, but they have judged him guilty and all of that. And then you have, I forget what you call the process, the mitigation process, in which you have character witnesses come to speak about that young man's upbringing. And his upbringing may have come from a very dark place. He may have fallen through the cracks in many ways. He may have had a father that brutalized him and a mother that was never there. And all of these mitigating factors are summed up to determine, and they might say, boy, you know, this man judged to be killed, reasonable to kill him twice, 3 times for the crime he has committed, hang him 3 times for the crime he has committed. But no, these circumstances, these factors that actually made up his life and probably accounted to a great extent for he becoming the person he is, they have to be taken in consideration, and let us give him life sentence instead. So Gaza emerged from the ethos of the genocide, the brutality, the inhumanity of the genocide. I remember in those days I could not eat. It was very difficult to have meals. Up to today, I still have 1 meal a day, and it was out of Gaza. I just couldn't be eating every day, 3 square meals, and the people are hungry. The people are being starved and famine and all of that. That is going ahead. So the Gaza is real, and I hear people echoing the chorus all the time, and I hear people singing it when I'm singing it, and they know what is happening. So the Gaza was really a way of telling the story. Since March last year, I have been writing practically every week articles on the Gaza story in the New Today, and the Gaza was just sung for echoing it in song. I'm not hearing you.
And then the other one were
the radar.
The radar.
Well, the radar is really the masterpiece.
But Father Paul, I have to say this about the radar, right? There are 2 threads, and I'll bring in Rootsman, because Rootsman has a song this year about justice, right? And we're going to talk about that connective tissue with those 2 songs there. But that radar song, Father Paul, you also critiqued your church for the scourge for the scourge of pedophilia that exists in the Catholic Church. And I said, okay, Father Paul is also shining a light on one of the scourges of the Roman Catholic Church.
Well, I like how you put it, one of the scourges of the Roman Catholic Church, because it's not a recent phenomena. It's a lifetime, 2,000-year phenomena in the Catholic Church. And you see, it's really funny. If we do not criticize ourselves, if we do not take ourselves apart, we will continue to repeat our mistakes again and again. And, you know, somebody in the song, I think when the song was posted online, somebody wrote in the comments underneath that they're not impressed with what I have said. That is what you referred to, because I have been in it all the time. You know, purporting basically to say that, you know, I have been supporting pedophilia, or I have turned a blind eye to pedophilia. I mean, it's clearly, you know, I'm in sympathy with that person because they clearly don't know me. They don't know me. You see, we Grenadians, we are very known for being very opinionated. We hold strong, strong opinions. We literally want to argue and kill for those opinions. But very often, those opinions are not based on facts at all. Those opinions are not researched. And even when the facts come to us afterwards, we hold on to those opinions. We're going to die for them, as if our lives depend upon them. I remember specifically about 2010, 2011. I left St. David's in 2013. I remember I was preaching almost every Sunday for a period about pedophilia and the homosexuality and all the stupidness in the Catholic Church. And some people in the church were saying, you see, he want to leave. He just trying to stir up a confusion with the church. Now, this is almost 14 years, and I have not left excepting they want to throw me out or in the process of throwing me out. I have always been outspoken about wrong. And any amount, my mother used to always say, as we all say, 2 wrongs can make a right. And any amount of wrong will not make a right. So you could do what you want. You would not convert a wrong into a right. So I have always spoken about all of those ills, many of those ills in the Catholic Church. And, you know, as you grow older and you get much more mature and you find your voice more, you are able to speak more vehemently. But anybody in any of the 2 churches that I have worked, St. David's for 18 and a half years, I think Rivers Sali for 10, 11 years or something like that, would tell you that I say what is in my heart and not afraid to say anything of that sort. So criticizing the Catholic Church, I mean, that's the big downfall of the church. I love my church. If I want to see my church go up, I must talk about the wrong things that is happening, the wrong things that are happening in my church. That's not anything strange to me at all.
Yeah, and you know, and there tends to be a culture of secrecy, not wanting to derail the conversation there, but there tends to be a culture of secrecy in the Catholic Church as well.
There is, not there tend to.
Pedophilia,
There is.
where they move around these priests who sexually molest little boys.
Of course.
You know, and some priest randomly shows up in a parish and you wonder, well, why are you here?
Yeah,
what happened in the other parish that brought you here?
Yeah.
Father, right? So
and that happened for hundreds of years. The only time it was changed when the legal authorities started taking actions. And that many dioceses, especially in the United States, got closed down because there is a system of rich dioceses supporting poor dioceses. But when the rich dioceses had so many pedophilic persons, priests, and so on, and the church has to pay millions, running into the billions of dollars for legal cases that people have brought against the church. They don't have money to support their poor churches. So big dioceses of hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people just fall, and nothing was said about that, as if that's all right. So, I mean, it's a very big, long problem, which the church itself will have to face up. And it's very sad that the church cannot correct its mistakes. The church cannot correct its mistakes. You know, it has to allow the legal authorities to come in. This is a problem that has been reigning forever. But as you said, cover it up, and we play the good Holy Catholic Church. Well, of course we are the Holy Catholic Church. We are not holy because we are good people. We are holy because God still is in the church.
And Rootsman, I'm going to bring you in here on that social justice theme. Because Father Paul, as with Father Paul, you Rootsman, in 2026, your song Justice, very, very powerful song. You know, I get goosebumps when I listen to that song, because both of you, Father Paul and Rootsman Kelly, you reference Alejandra Lett, right? And you reference all of the other people in Grenada who have either been denied justice or justice is delayed on their behalf. But Rootsman, you have your music, and I remember, for example, you have another song that you did a couple years ago, Judicial Imbalance. That was also a social justice song in respect of issues of access of justice or unfairness of justice in the court system. So let us talk about, and again, you know, if you go back, for example, you did Willie Lynch as well. That's another one that you did that really focus on that idea. You know, as I mentioned, judicial imbalance, another weapon of mass destruction. You know, you've done so much music that really highlights issues of social justice. So let us talk about that. Somebody referred to you as the Gregory Isaac of Caliso in Grenada. but let's talk about how you think about when you're penning your music and looking at those issues of social justice.
Yeah, you know, well, this song basically, the idea was given to me by a good friend of mine. You know, you mentioned Alejandra.
Yes.
This one really touched me really hard because it's somebody from my said community, you know, and I saw her grow up. I know her parents. You know, I'm from St. David. Both parents are from St. David, you know, and she was a really sweet child, you know. So in highlighting justice for these people, it's very personal, you know, it's very personal to me, you know, very, very, very personal because we saw the trend in Grenada for the past couple months, say let's say a year or so. You know, a lot of loved ones, a lot of people that we loved and cherished. Melva, for example, Neil and Franklin. You know, well, they lost their life. You know, through violence. You know, and in order to ease that pain, because I myself suffered greatly when it comes to violence. Remember, I lost my son in 2018 through violence. I lost my son who was really dear to me. You know, so and I personally thought that I didn't get any justice. I didn't get any justice. You know, so the pain is as fresh as it happened yesterday. You know, and I know that justice is something that helped to heal, you know, to heal some of the pain. You know, it's not we cannot get back our loved ones, but you know, to deny us justice on top of that is really heartbreaking. You know, so when I got the idea from a good friend of mine who doesn't want his really name to be mentioned, you know, I thought it was a really, really great idea. He gave me a lot of lyrics as well, you know, and I just had to sing that song this year, you know, because you know, in order to keep their names alive, you know, we must find justice for these people. You know, remember I sang a song again. You mentioned it, judicial imbalance. The name of the song is really "What Good for the Goose is Good for the Gander." I lost two good friends. I'm not hearing you, Mr. Bob.
That was a powerful song, Judicial
Right.
Imbalance. I love that.
You know,
What good for the goose is good for the gander?
yes, when I penned that song,
Yeah.
you know, two good friend of mine lost their life. You know, Mr. Bain and Whoopi. You know, we used to call him Whoopi. He was killed in the police station right in St. David there. You know, and these things that really touch us as a nation. It really hurts us as a nation because remember, Whoopi, 4-5 years running, his family couldn't get no justice. You know, this year again we see all these people that I mentioned in the song this year. The cases are still pending. You know, we haven't received any. The loved ones, the family haven't received any justice. You know, I saw Andre, that's Alejandro, died in the semifinals, and you know, someone told me he was actually crying when I was singing this song. You know, so it is so important for us to get justice for, you know, for these terrible acts of violence that take place in our communities. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Finley, Scholar, let me bring you back in, not forgotten you. We're now going to go on to talk about the big stage and the amount of finalists that's coming from Kaiso Bads. And let us talk about of course, Father Paul is here from Kaiso Bads as well. But let us talk about the other artists you have and their lyrical selections and what we can look forward to for this year's Dimash Gra.
All right, well, Kaiso Buds, I would say that we had a very successful 10th season this year. Very tough though, very hard. Because we had to deal with a lot of unexpected. So for one, we came to the season without a band because we've used a backing band for the last 10 years. Now Kaiso Buds has been around for 31 years, right? And so Kaiso Buds is an institution. As a matter of fact, we've had a lot of different people manage Kaiso Buds over the years: Glenn Noel, Rudolph Ogilvy, Black Wizard, Mr. X, Posueda. All these people have done some management of of Kaisobaz. So when I took Kaisobaz over in 2015 or thereabouts, I actually took Kaisobaz when it was on a slope, a very, very slippery slope, ready to go over a piece of precipice. I mean, in the midst of the season, the managers of the tent at that time decided that they're not going to go forward. We had one show, which was the judging night, to go. And I just felt, nah, I can't leave it go down that way. And I took up the mantle. And the same thing I said earlier, when that's how the world is, the world doesn't miss people. So if somebody goes, somebody somehow takes up the slack and they would run with it. And so that's how I got shouldered, burdened with Kaisobaz. I was not a founding member of Kaisobaz. I came into Kaisobaz in 1997. So there are a lot of people, even now in the tent, who are founding members who came in before me, like Randy Isaac, like Squeezy, for example. And this year, as I said, there was no band because the backing band that we've used for the last 10 years, Heat Wave, this year proclaimed that well, the leader of the tent, the band said that he's tired. He needs to take a rest, and so they will not be playing this year. And so we had to think on our feet. We had to dig deep. But I have a good management team around me. My wife, Tessa, Barry, Neil Ferguson is there. Teacher Eddie, who is a rock, ready for me. So immediately we started to brainstorm, and we decided that, listen, it could not be helped. We had to bring up some musicians from Trinidad to complement and to play. This was a decision that was made totally by necessity, and it worked. But we had to dig deep because it is more costly to bring in the people from Trinidad. But we saw the fruits of it. I mean, the band was tight. The guys, I mean, the band was really, really professional. Old Inspector ASP of the police band, Andy Lewis, he managed the band, and they were really, really tight. And then on top of that, we had a new innovation this year. We had 7 nights of tent showing, which is unheard of. So for 7 nights, we plied our trade in one particular location, which was the school in a school in Grenville, the Methodist school. We were there for 7 nights so that the guys were able to hone their craft, because that is one of the problems with Calypso. Guys come in, and by the time they have the first show, the second show, they're ready to face the judges. And this is not good for Calypso and for Calypsonia. You want to face the judges understanding exactly all of the elements of the song. You know the song by heart and so on. And that is the opportunity that we gave to the 28, 27 artists who sang with us this year. And we saw the fruits of it. So it was not surprising that we got 12 persons into the semi-final. And from that, we took the lion's share of 8. So we have newcomers like Father Paul, Jerrington Jeremiah. JLO is almost new. This is his second year inside. And then we also had Killer B from Carriacou, who has not sung for a number of years, really. And he came in, fitted into it, and here he is in the finals. Messenger, who is she lives in Trinidad, is a Grenadian. She comes up every year, but she has had a lean spell for maybe 8-9 years, and she's into the finals this year, all of a sudden. And then of course we have the regular, like the Big J and Shirin Francis, who came back last year after a long break, and she's now showing consistency. So boy, I'm happy with what the tent has done, and I look forward to them going and really putting on a good show for next week Sunday.
And let me bring in Rootsman here, with Kaiso Classic. Let us talk about your 10th season, the folks who are in the final, and we have here from Kaiso Classic, we have, of course, Father Paul, not Father Paul, sorry. We have Sour Serpent. We have Valine. Let's see here. We also have Innocent. Big names as well. Big names as well who have been very consistent. They have produced amazing hits over the years. So let us talk about your contenders going into the big stage this year.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy that 3 out of the 4 of us who was in the semi-finals advanced to the final stage of the competition. You know, out of them we have 2 former monarchs, as you mentioned, Sour Serpent and Innocent. You know, Valin also is a very, very competitive artist. She's a really, really good artist, one of the best voices in Calypso in Grenada.
Very
You know, a female, she is very powerful. You know, so I'm so happy to have three of them in the finals this year. You know, we were only able to have a very short season this year, you know, due to a lot of different constraints, financial being one of them, you know, and we had a very short season. We only had the launch and then the judging night, the preliminary judging night, you know, but even with that, you know, you could see the professionalism of these 3 artists. You know, it was shown in the semifinals, and they are very confident. They are very confident going forward into the final competition, and the tent has put something in place to give them some support going into the final stage of the competition. You know, small, but it will, I think it will go a long way. You know, they have been preparing, you know, well, up to yesterday, we had been in dialogue, you know, so I know that he would be a very, very strong contender for the crown this year. Even Innocent is very confident. Innocent is very, very confident going into competition, you know, with one of the songs from King Ajamo. You know, I think it's maybe a 9-time Calypso monarch. You know, and I feel very, very happy, you know, to see that, you know, they advance to this stage of the competition, and I'm looking forward that, you know, they would place very high. You know, I think it's very likely that one of them could carry the crown back to the tent this year as well.
Well, we want that crown to go to St. David's this year.
Scholar would like to hear you saying that, you know, Dr.
Well,
Bob.
Scholar could say what he wants.
St. David's people don't find it too greedy.
Scholar, but you said you're from St. David as well. You know, we had that conversation.
Scholar, let me put you on the spot here. Somebody said Scholar is connected to St. David. He has relative in St. David current, to be specific. So, Scholar, somebody lying?
No, I'm connected to St. David. I'm connected.
Well, there you
Karen
go.
To be not just Karen but they like as a matter of fact, Dr. Bob, let me tell you something. One of the greatest shock I got. I went to a funeral, right, in Cardiff. It was the funeral of Sour Serpent father, right? Sour Serpent father passed away. And I went there to support Serpent, despite the fact that you're saying a lot of bad things about me. But I went there to support the Kaiso brother. And I met some people there. I mean, people who looked exactly like me and my lineage. I mean, I have an auntie. And when I look at the lady, I took a picture actually, me and her. And when I sent it for my mother and so on, they are asking me, where you meet Auntie Gladys to take that picture, right? Because the resemblance is split. So I asked the lady and she told me, well, yes, she came here because Sour Serpent is family and so on. And she watched me about her and she says, Sour Serpent is your cousin, you know. So you don't know that? Where the hell is this? So by Grenada is very small, Grenada, and you may never know. Sometimes I related to Rootsman and them too, and I don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't look like a client. Scholar, you don't look like a client.
No.
I don't think so. But Rootsman is a client, but Rootsman is supposed to be, and that's the problem with Grenada. So you are Bob, but you're something else.
No, well, I'm originally a Kingston from Apuetut, eh?
Well, there you go. And then you're not just a Kingston.
And then a Ben from Bellevue as well. So
that is how it is in this little country and them.
This is true. Yeah.
Rootsman is not just a client, Rootsman is some other thing. and some
Of
other thing
course.
and some other thing. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
boy, we have all kind of surname. I'm a Payne, I'm a John, I'm a all kind of different things.
I'm a
Scholar,
Redhead,
my
a
mother is a pain.
Kingston.
What are you talking? Scholar, my mother is a pain, you know.
Well, look at that, and mind you, there are very few Paynes, and my mother is a Payne.
My mother is Gloria Payne.
My mother is Rita Payne. And that is a fact.
Look at that.
You see, I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
so we have a very salient question here from Andrew D. Angel, who's saying, after Calypso Monarch, what next? The artists don't get bookings, etc. Can the panel shed some light on that? And I think that's a very salient point that's been raised here. Because, again, after Soca Monarch, after Groovy Monarch happens, then we see the Groovy and the Soca artists, they go on tour. That there is a circuit around them, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens to Calypso. Does the Calypso season just end after Dimanche Grand Night until the 10th season starts again in June, July?
Well, the lucky ones would you know, I think any Calypso show after Carnival you would most likely see Scholar and maybe a few other prominent artists. But generally speaking, well, as soon as preliminary judging done, if the Calypso don't advance to the semi-final, season done for them. You know, and as the competition goes by after the semis, Carnival, Calypso done until next year again, which is really, really sad. You know, some of us would get the booking. For instance, I have a show in St. Martin in October. You know, it's a Legends concert. You know, with some of the Trinidadian artists. Pink Panther is one of the members of that cast as well. You know, so those very lucky ones might get one or two little booking, but apart from that, it's really, really, really sad. You know, after Carnival, like Calypso done. And I think this is a thing that needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Scholar, let's get your thoughts on that, because we do have, so for example, I know in Montserrat there is I believe it's called the King of Kings show that happens, if I'm subject to correction, but I think that happens in March. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
Montserrat, there are various shows. You see the Leeward Islands, they kind of organize. So you get a chance, not a big chance, but you get a chance to compete and to do other things outside of your competition. But I think the more salient point, I think, that was raised, and it's been raised by Rootsman, and I've raised it for a number of years. You see, I will say this, and I will go down to my grave saying it, that Calypso, while it is the mother of reggae and so on, as Rootsman, I think somebody pointed out, I think in hindsight, the founding fathers, the people who found Calypso, they made a mistake. Now, the problem is that Calypso was founded on the plantation, right? And you can tell that it was founded there because some of the vestiges of what happened on the plantation exported with Calypso and it evolved with it. So one of the main things with Calypso and with all of its other offshoots like Soca and Groove is that it's a competitive art form. It's the only art form in the world that is a competitive art form where people go and compete with one another for 4 seconds and crong and all this kind of thing. No other, and this has inhibited us in a way that I mean a lot of people ain't realize. So that you'll find that from year to year, Calypsonians, for example, don't express themselves in the way that they would want to express themselves because they are looking their lizard eyes on a crown. And if I express myself in this way, what it would mean for me and the title and the semifinals and the finals making and so on. Instead of men just singing from the heart, from the guts, and putting it out there and letting it go. And we've found, even with the soca, that when the artists do that, when they sing from their conviction and they just sing songs, we have a better season like last year. Compared to this year, you have more songs not singing about the competition and one yada stupidness. It is never good for the art form. I always say that last year's success was based upon the fact that for some reason or the other, the artists decided they are not going to focus on the soca monarch, but just sing songs. And look what where it brought us. So this thing about the king and so on, this has sort of stymied the growth and the evolution of calypso. And then you would expect that when you have this king and you have these titles and so on, that it would translate into something. But sadly, it doesn't. I mean, you win Crown, I've won 11, Rootsman win 2, who win what again? After you win Crown, you go back to being you. I mean, there's nothing in that. Nobody, there's no accolades, there's no pomp, there's no pageantry. You don't get to represent Grenada in any way. I think even the Queen, when they win, they get to represent. They go to all kind of things. You don't get to represent Grenada anyway. I'm not here.
I have a curiosity about that, especially in regional shows like well, I think that's the only one that I'm aware of, which is the King of Kings in Montserrat, right? Does Grenada have what qualifications does it require to enter that competition?
Well, in
is
actual
it based on
fact,
all of the monarchs? Or
in
how does that
actual
work?
fact, Montserrat has a Queen of Queens.
That
That
right,
happens
which
in
is
December. But
okay.
they used to have King of Kings sometime before. I mean, me, for example, I've been singing for 30 odd years. I've won a lot of titles, but I've never taken part, well, except there was a Carifesta thing one. I've never taken part in Caribbean competitions or such, as how you had with Monroe and the soca artists and so on could go up and take part in that. So the well of opportunities for Calypsonians has always been dry.
Mm-hmm. So do you think, therefore, that perhaps as on a regional level now, Kelly and Scholar, that perhaps that is something, and you mentioned that the Leeward Islands, they seem to be very organized. They have really, really great Kaisos coming from the Leeward Islands, Antigua, St. Kitts and so on. But do you think that at a regional level, is that something that you all speak about? Whether it's Tuco in Grenada, Kelly, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an opportunity for us here in Grenada now, to come up with something like that. We could organize a regional competition. We could organize a regional calypso competition. I think this is a great opportunity for us. We just need partners. We just need, people to pump monies and other resources into a competition like that. Somebody like Scholar and, other people with the expertise and with the experience, we could come together with government and non-governmental organization, and because we see something that's really needed through the Caribbean, and we need that, as you mentioned with Monroe before, with the Soca Mona competition, and we see our artists in Grenada here are really equipped. We see Black Adam went and win the thing in Trinidad. We saw Billy Killer win. And I know that if a calypso competition of that magnitude, I know Grenadian artists will do very, very well. So I think this is an opportunity for us now, to be the front runners in organizing a competition like that.
Very, very important. Tessa Barry saying our own Valley has taken part in the Queen of Queens in Montserrat. Yes. Lydia James, who judged Calypso as well. Lydia judged Calypso for a number of years. A Calypso monarch is only recognized on the night he or she is crowned. Let's go here. Let's see. We have another comment here. Peters is saying it should be necessary. There should be gigs recognizing excellent performance. Yes, indeed. Very, very important there. Let's see here. Taylor Made is saying, I love these three gentlemen. You guys are doing an awesome job for the culture. Let's see here. Did anyone, let's see, did anyone who sang not in favor of the government get into the finals this year? or that's politics. We ain't touching that. Radio silence, okay. All right, let's see. Let's get some other comments here. Let's see. I think those were some of the comments here. Papa Jerry is also listening. Papa Jerry is saying, I don't see where our Calypso is going. So maybe that's something that we need to sit with as artists as well. Papa Jerry, thanks for again being on the show today, and all the best to you for the groovy, man. You came out swinging this year, man. The hips are moving all over the place. So, all right. So, gentlemen, let us get to some closing comments here as we go into. Oh, Papa Jerry didn't make it. Okay, did he or did he not? I have to check again. But maybe he can correct me. He's listening. But gentlemen, as we go, as we close this edition of the program, and as we go down into the wire for Spicemas, Father Paul, expectations for Carnival outside of your participation in the Dimashgra, and I know that this will be a very busy week for you, practicing and rehearsing. What else you would be doing for? What else would you be doing for Carnival? Would you be playing jab this year as well? Hopefully in Latant.
I remember at seminary, in one of our philosophy classes, Father Henry Charles, may his soul rest in peace, a very distinguished, honorable, real man of the people and working man. He was Island Scholar in Trinidad in 1964. A very bright man, but very humble. You didn't know he had a doctorate. He looked so very assuming. He said that if there was no carnival in the Caribbean, the level of violence would be much higher, because over the year, the period of a year, people accumulate so much stress. In those days, we were not even using the word stress. People accumulate so much stress. People are filled and overflowing with so many difficult situations, so much frustration. We would have found ourselves taking it out on one another more, and so increasing the propensity and the actual violence in the society. I was stunned, and have always remained stunned about that statement and that philosophical idea. And I look forward to Carnival for that period, for that purpose, whether I do it or not. I remember he talked, again, if you give me 1 minute, he talked about a woman in the street he saw, because we play Juve a lot in Trinidad. I don't know why they make a big thing about a priest playing Carnival in Trinidad, because in Grenada, in Trinidad, we as seminarians, that's student priests and nuns, full-fledged nuns and student nuns, we played in different bands, and we usually end up in the jab in one band, loads of us, and even the so-called charismatics, who are sort of a strict version of Catholicism, if you can put it that way. I saw those guys playing mass and think just the same. So I really look forward, as I said, whether I take part or not, I look forward to Carnival as something for the nation, just having a big wet down, just enjoying themselves. Everybody just enjoying themselves. Even those who don't play, they find some peaceful, quiet place. It's a phenomenal thing. And I was making the reference to a woman he talked about whining in the street. He said the woman was just gliding down the street, enjoying herself. Now, we don't know the circumstances of that woman. She could be a woman with 10 children and all the frustrations that come with that, with a boyfriend or a man or a husband that beats the hell out of that. She was just enjoying herself. And he could have seen that this woman was not making a show. She was not doing things which he often referred to as inauthentic living. We do things because we know people are looking at us, and we don't do things because we know people are looking at us. No, the woman was just enjoying herself, enjoying the moment. So I look forward to that. And I mean, being in my first Calypso contest, which I never thought I never dreamt of being in, and which Scholar is the man who really pushed me. I look forward to when that over. I in Juve. you know, and I haven't been in Latant. Last year, I don't think I was there, but I'm usually there. And as you say, Latant, and I think you said you're from Pomrose or Latant area, I come in there,
Yeah,
man.
you should know my family. You know you know Yvonne Kingston, Gemma
Kingston.
Kingston.
When
Well,
I say Kingston, I
I am my
smile.
family. That's my family. They are my cousins. Nancy
Yeah.
of a blessed memory. That was my mom.
When you say
Eva
you are a
Duncan.
Kingston,
All the
yeah, when you say you're a Kingston, I smile because even Kingston and I was in SAS
well,
together, same form, everything. You
Gemma
know,
too. Gemma went to SAS as
Gemma,
well.
yeah. And I've been a lot in touch with Gemma in the distant years. You know, these people help us
Yeah.
a lot to build up church, you know.
Yeah, Marjorie Kingston. You know that their mom.
Yeah,
That's
man, Margie was
her
my
husband.
friend. I was in
Her
the house
husband
all the
Owen
time.
Kingston. Yeah, her husband Owen Kingston is my great cousin. So first
Right.
cousin, you know, my
Yeah.
two sisters' children.
So we
Yeah,
connected. You all were talking about the connection thing. We connected
there
too.
you go. There you go, Father Paul. There you
Yeah,
go.
man.
And of course, we have another aunt of mine, Auntie Beryl, Teacher Beryl Bob, who played
Yeah.
mass. So
Yes.
I don't know if you know remember Beryl Bob, but she taught
I
in the public
remember the
school.
name. I remember the
That's my
name.
grandaunt. My grandaunt,
Wow.
she used to play mass. So when I tell her when she see me winding down on the street, you know, she
Yeah.
should not be surprised because it
No.
runs in the
It
family.
in the
So
blood. Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
ain't the blood. It ain't the blood.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let us bring in now Scholar and Rootsman for some closing comments. Scholar, I'll go with you first.
Yeah, well, thank you, Dr. Bob, again for having me and for once this Calypso Carnival, I am always ready to discuss. I mean,
Yes.
we're winding down now. It has been a long season. Thankfully, we're winding down, and we just for this week would be the hectic week with presentations and prepping and doing the final finish putting the final finishing touches. I want to wish all the calypsonians, all the soca artists, groovy artists, all the best as they prepare to showcase what they have. All of the pan men burning at midnight oil, I want to wish them all the best. You are the true stakeholders, all of the mass players, you know, and just everybody and all of the people who are coming for Spice Mass. I mean, I just saw a picture of JFK posted by my good friend Michael Bascom this morning. Oh God, JFK dirty, and he says Spice Mass had causing it. So I mightn't be surprised if you guys hear JetBlue have to add some flights and or Delta or one of them, because to me, coming off the back of the success from last year, especially with the music and the job tour and the what and whatnot, boy, I find Grenada leaning. It's leaning, and
Yeah,
I
you're leaning
just
to
wish
one side.
I
Yeah,
just wish
just
everybody would
so.
have a nice, clean, safe carnival. Let's portray and display Grenada as the safest place to have mass in the whole world. I think that's the law of it, even more so than the music, is that the Trinidadians and everybody else that say they could just come in Grenada, they drink, they babash, they wine, they pin themselves, and then they could just throw on themselves anywhere and lie down and sleep. Nobody does them anything. I mean, that is what when Father Paul and him talk about paradise in the biblical teaching. That is what he's speaking about. You know, it's thing like that.
Of course. Of course. But allow me to stick a pin here,
Yes,
please.
Father, go
And
ahead.
it's
Yes,
not
Father.
not about money, but I know there are a lot of people who want to come to Grenada and genuinely don't have a place. I still
Yes.
have, I think, two apartments in the Cali Vini area. And,
Okay.
and scholars scratch my skin when you talk about the biblical thing, because the biblical thing were festivals. The
Yes.
harvest festival, so many festivals. The people sat out in a jupa, out in the field, cutting, reaping their crops for months. And it was festival after festival, drinking and whining and dancing. Now we play with the whining. Well, how we gonna make children if we don't whine?
Father Paul, thank you so much.
You're
Thank you
welcome,
so
my
much.
brother.
Rootsman, you know, I never imagined, Rootsman, that I would able to have a priest and a rasta on a panel
Well,
together.
two priests, two
But
priests.
alas,
I'm
I
a
did it
priest too.
today.
I'm a
Oh,
former
you're a
priest as
priest. Oh,
well,
there you go.
as you know.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Dr. Bob, well, thanks for having us on the program. It was
Yeah, thanks.
a
Yes, my
wonderful
brother.
program. You know, what I would like to
Yes.
say is that remember, Carnival is very important to us. Carnival is, I think, the greatest income honor for Grenada. You know, so let's keep it safe. Let's keep Grenada on the map as one of the places that, you know, you could experience the safest environment. You know, it grieves my heart when I saw the news, I think yesterday, when that the youth who got stabbed,
That young
he
man.
lost his
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. That's
You know,
very
Wow.
sad.
I didn't
let's
even know
keep
that.
this, let's keep this carnival very, very safe, violent free. You know, let's keep it nice. I want to really encourage all the artists in the different categories, the different genres, the soca, the groovy, and the calypso going into competition. You know, I wish them all the best. Just put your best foot forward. Let's put on a grand show. You know, I would like to congratulate Father Paul. You know, Father Paul is a St. David man. I know him for a very long time. I don't know
We
if Father
adopted
Paul.
him in St. David. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if you
Thank
remember the
you.
days
Thank you.
when we had the St. David folk group. You know,
Yeah.
I man was a founding member of the St. David folk group. I remember when
Yeah.
Father Paul came to St. David, and he was, you know, he gave us a lot of encouragement. You know, I moved out from the group, you know, shortly after he came to St. David, but I remember him as somebody very interested in culture and in music. So I'm happy to see him in the front today. You know, a lot of people some people might have a little issue with that, but I think it speaks volume for a man of Father Paul magnitude coming to sing calypso. I mean, I feel very, very happy about that. So congratulations, and I wish you all the best
Yeah.
in competition this year.
Yes, thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you very, very much. And thanks for all that you have done for the Art Farm.
You're
Yes,
welcome. Thank you very much.
I would personally like to echo that sentiment as well. You know, you Scholar, Rootsman, you know, Wizard, Mr. X, Smokey, Squeezy, Randy Isaac, Specky. I mean, you know, you guys have really made the culture. And without you all, they say the culture is bigger than the man, but there are men like you who have really you poured in. You know, it's a labor of love for you guys, and sometimes you do it with money from your own pocket. Sometimes you don't even have the money, and you do it, because of that love of culture. And I tip my hat off to you all, because I tell you something. As somebody, I would tell you this fun fact about me. I mean, I grew up listening. So my folks did not have a TV. We didn't have cable and thing in Pomerose at that time. We would listen to Dimash on radio.
Yeah.
We would stay up, right? Stay up to listen to Dimash. So I, from a very young age, you know, had a good orientation into the culture, into especially Kaiso. And so that's one of the reasons why I have an appreciation for Kaiso, and I respect that art form so well. So, gentlemen, thank you for appearing on the Bob Report this week.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Dr.
and
Bob.
thank you for the good work you continue to do in culture and every other aspect of life. I really admire a young man like you doing what you do so well. I encourage you and I pray for you that the best continues with your program.
Yes, absolutely, Father Paul. Thank you so very much.
You're
Viewers and
welcome.
listeners, that brings us to the end of this week's edition of the program. Such an enlightening, such a fun, light-hearted, but very serious issues that were raised as well. Normally, the Bob Report raises issues, but at this time of year, we really have to pay homage and give respect to one of those things that really unites us all as a people, and that is Carnival. And Carnival is the biggest marquee festival for Grenada and for any other island in the region. That's one of the things that we do. And for me, as a fun fact personally, for those of you who may or may not know, I love Mass. I said it earlier. While I love jab jab, I'm not. I don't necessarily play jab a lot because again, it affects my skin a lot. But I would just share with you last year. This was me last year playing Mass with Oro Luxury Carnival last year. This is me and two of my friends, my best friend there, Dr. Christopher. And we will be journeying again to Grenada this year to play Mass. So we hope to see you on the road. If you see me getting out on the road, don't clutch your pearls. Please do not clutch your pearls. It's carnival, and I usually I behave bad around carnival time. So don't post me up on any on Anna Augustine page, please. If you see me acting up, it's carnival. I'm entitled to do that because we work hard, and carnival time, as Father Paul says, is a time for us to be free and really have a good time. So that's what we'll be doing this year. So viewers, audience, next week's program will not be live. We will have a pre-recorded segment, but it would also be a continuation of the build up to Carnival. We hope to have folks from the Steel Pan fraternity, as well as the Fancy Mass and Traditional Mass fraternities for our program next week. So please stay tuned for that. And yes, Donna Swap, we intend to come up to Grenville to visit you, as well as some other folks. Myself, Leo, and Terry, we intend to come up to Grenville to be there. So we look forward to spending some time with you. Maybe before the carnival, I don't know. Maybe after, we'll see. We'll see, because from Thursday, as they say, is road, right? So, and my grand aunt here, Beryl is saying take a wine. Yes, Auntie, I will definitely be taking a wine for you on the road as well. Reese, thanks for tuning into today's program. We go make sure he roll with his rubber boots. That's funny. All right. So folks, again, please do us a favor. Over on YouTube, we had about 250 people. Right now we have 221 people over on YouTube. Before you go, just hit that like button. Just hit that like button on YouTube so folks can have an opportunity to really take in today's program. And what we want to do is to pause for a cause, and then we'll close today's program after this.
Should your loved ones pass on, they deserve to be treated with dignity. And at S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, we can provide you with that service. We can take you every step of the way during your sorrowful moments. When that need arises, call S.A. Johnson Funeral Home at 347-777-9797. That's 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home is a Caribbean family-owned funeral home here in Brooklyn, providing funeral services, but in a dignified way. From cremation to burial to the repatriation of your loved ones, you don't have to go through the hassle, as we provide exceptional service that allows you to mourn and heal peacefully. For more information, visit our website, www.sajohnsonfuneral.org. Send us an email at sajfuneral@aol.com or call 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, because you deserve to be treated with dignity.
Hi everyone. The Bub Report is committed to being fearless, balanced, and independent, bringing you the stories that matter most without compromise. Now do us a favor. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell so you never miss an update. You can also watch us on GBN TV every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Catch us on WPG10 television every Sunday at 8 p.m. Your support helps us to keep journalism free from bias and influence. And together, we can make sure every voice is heard and every fact is verified. Thanks for watching.
Don't go there.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of that.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me here for much more than diplomatic passports. I don't mind that.
Don't go there.
What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there.
They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not too sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. But let us talk. Let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bob Report. We go there.
I think we all deserve reparation. Mama, you the gravest crimes against humanity is in transatlantic slavery. So we should stand in solidarity with the reparations committee for all the atrocities and the brutality. We must make them oppressors pay. But even if we gain victory, there is no guarantee that there will be a better day. So even if we get millions from them European nations, reparation would mean wonder. If we can unite this tri-island nation, for as long as we will party before country, people there will be no prosperity. And as long as we fight each other daily, our struggles will be in futility. Oh boy, I want me mommy, I want to cry. Oh God. After the so-called emancipation, our parents didn't get £1, but the owners of the plantation got millions in compensation. So as heirs and successors of our ancestors, I say we must never relent. Instead we must advocate and we must demonstrate for our just entitlement. So even if we get millions from them European nations, reparation would mean wonder. If we continue to abuse our with our behavior, just like the slave master, brother, there will be no prosperity. Once there is exploitation of the working man, our struggles will be futility. Whoa. I want me mommy, I want to cry. Oh God. Hey. Listen to this carefully. Just imagine after half a century of being an independent country, still a royal Grenada police force, and in modesty, opposition, of course. They have a CCJ, you clearly say no way, on two separate occasions. But when they say republic, some of you still getting sick. Why? You still want to wash it in the crowd. So even if we get millions from them European nations, reparation would mean wonder. With a colonial education, if we don't set ourselves free from this slave mentality, people there will be no prosperity. And if we don't teach the history of our African ancestry, our struggle will be in futility. Whoa, whoa. Somebody put your hands up for reparation. If you think we deserve reparation, are we gonna change our ways? Are we gonna do something good with it? Give me a way like this. Give me a way like I love you. Ladies and gentlemen.